It's June, it's Audio month, and we are back to talk about the Audies. And this time, this is for the narrators, the authors, the production companies, and the publishers. If you are none of those things, skedaddle. This is more information for if you are not aware from things from a submission standpoint, if you know, from once you submit, sort of thing. If you have never seen me before and you're like, who is this bitch? Hi, I'm Kelly. I am from Readers Together. You may or may not have heard of me. I am an opinionated person. I have been around a long time, and informed consent is very important to me. Protecting people's pseudonyms is important to me, and making sure people are safe and that they are aware of what is happening is something that I just I just like everybody to know. So, submissions. Submissions are open. You can submit now any title that falls within the parameters of what the APA have said. I think it's anything that's been released in the last year. Obviously, you do have to pay to submit. You do get a discount if you are a member of the APA. Something else you should know is that I do lose my train of thought and I do ramble. So please bear that in mind. But please do stick around. So when you are submitting, bear in mind I believe anybody can submit as long as you have the right holder's permission, but please double check that before you do any of that. So when you are submitting, there is place to fill in all of the information, including the contact information, so social media, email addresses, etc. And this is where I really wanted to share this because I don't know that everybody is aware or is seeking informed consent about this at this junction. So when you are filling this information in for a title you are submitting, I would strongly urge that everybody on the project is informed that you are submitting the title and ask them that they are happy for their information to be included, especially if they narrate under a pseudonym and especially if they have a contact email that is a different email, or especially if it includes their real name, because that information is not just accessible to the APA, it is accessible to any judge in the category that that book is submitted to. And for those that aren't aware, judges are not just judges with the APA, judges are listeners. Anybody can apply to be a judge. Now, the hope is that a judge would see that information and hold that information to the highest degree of confidentiality, see it but not see it, but we know that's not the case. There are people, unfortunately, within the community that will use that information for not so good things. And to be honest, although I have had it where I've spotted things, it never really dawned on me until this past year when, although I was aware of the names, it wasn't until I saw the email addresses of two people that I know to be people that take their privacy seriously that I was like, it was like a kind of jump scare of, I I I don't know if they're aware that listeners are going to have access to this, that's going to know that that's like their real name attached to that, and it's really obvious it's them. So just something to bear in mind when you're filling it in, because it could be that they want to create a quick Gmail account for their pseudonym, or they want to use the production company for contact info, or they want to have a PA do it, or they don't care. But at least if they have the informed information, they can make that decision. Another thing I did want to quickly then, because we had an issue judging wise, is that if you're talking about romance, if you have a book with some spicy scenes in, you don't have to put it in erotica. Nobody is judging your book if you put it in romance. Nobody's expecting closed door for romance. A book in the romance category, we are looking for a HEA that goes with the genre. Especially don't put a book that fades to black in erotica because you think it's got a higher chance of getting into the finals. Game in the system just makes people less likely to want to score you higher because they see what you're doing, and in actual fact the judges aren't actually looking at any of that. They're looking at what the sound is doing, what the performance is doing. It's really not worth it. And I wouldn't personally put it in romance and erotica because it just feels like you're hedging your bets. I would make a decision, especially in this climate of where authors are getting upset when their book is categorized as erotica, but then, oh, for an award, we're going to put it in there. It's like, well, you can't be upset if your book gets put in a category if you're then willing to put it in one for this purpose. So I would put it in for the genre that your book is. But that's just something through talking with other judges and how frustrating the judges were getting with books that just weren't fitting the category that they'd been put in. But if you have any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer. But yeah, let me know. I hope this was helpful. If not, sorry for wasting your time. Know me, ramble, ramble, ramble.